explicit, and it'll be fine. It's no big deal.
Um, okay, well, I'll try to keep it to a minimum.
Yeah,
It
but I
doesn't
mean,
matter.
don't worry about it.
Okay.
All right. I started the tape. Get off.
I saw that.
You're what?
I saw it went live.
Yeah. All right, Zach, it's on you. You can start us off.
All right, thanks for everybody for joining us. This week we're reviewing the 70.3 World Championship. We have two special guests with us this week. Mark, he's from New Zealand, living in Boulder right now. Just won Buffalo Spring 70.3. And we also have Elliot, triathlon coach, coaching Ben Hoffman right now. Couple used to coach Chris McDonald too, help out. He is part of the BSR racing team coaches. Say hello, guys.
G'day. How's it
Hey. Yeah.
Also, we got Emily with us.
Hey, everybody.
So we're going to start out with the men's race, and I think one of the big things everybody's been seeing on Twitter lately is the Gomez thing. He posted today that he rolled on to the 70.3 course. He said he was weak, but 2 days ago he couldn't lift out of bed, so he says it's improvement. Elliot, what do you think about the whole Gomez tweets the past couple of days?
I mean, if I'm gonna be honest, I just kind of don't believe him. But I just think it's BS. But he's also said he's been sick before and come back a week or 10 days later and absolutely annihilated people. So and he made it public in the past, and people said, "Oh, Gomez is sick. Oh, don't worry about him." And then the next thing you know, he's crushing people. So
Yeah,
yeah.
I find it strange that he said that because he's good enough that he doesn't need to make pre-excuses. So why even mention it?
That's true. He's setting up his try excuse in case he gets beat.
Maybe. It's going to be hard to beat him still, I think.
I mean, so you think he's going to come out of the water, with everybody, and will he be able to hang on the bike?
As opposed to in front of everybody?
Well, I don't know.
I
Well,
don't think.
okay.
Yeah, he's not going to swim away from anybody. There's no way he gets if an ITU pack can't drop him, the 70.3 guys can't drop him to save their lives.
So at ITU Stockholm, he swam at the back of the main pack and basically made the main bike pack because of nobody wanted to make a push at the beginning. So does he get left behind by a couple guys though, or will he swim in that main swim group?
I think he still swims in that main swim group. There's who are the super swimmers there?
I mean, Jan,
Frodeno? Yeah.
Bazone.
Bazone.
Yeah. But there's
I
no
agree with Mark though. There's nobody of the ITU caliber who's currently,
no,
the guys who are the front pack of the
there's no
ITU.
Varga.
And there's not a lot of motivation. And then if you look at it, Gomez is admitted that he more or less was just space cadetting it. That's why he swam bad. It's not like he doesn't have the fitness. So
And his post-race interview after Stockholm, he was disappointed in his swim. I don't think he'll make that mistake again 2 weeks in a row. So he
yeah,
would have
I
sorted
agree.
that out. Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, he'll be there for sure at the at least 30K into the bike at the top of the climb. That's another question.
Yeah, that's the interesting. I think everyone will know they will want 3 minutes on Gomez off the bike.
Yeah.
So who makes a push on the bike then? If you guys are talking about this bike, the hill, of course, everybody knows about the hill. It's like 8 to 10 miles long. You got like 15% grade at the top of the hill, and then technical downhill. I mean, who takes advantage of that then?
I think the Aussies, Tim Reed and Appleton for sure, Terenzo, and some of the Germans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like, what about Andy Brochere? Like, didn't he tell you, Zach, that he wants to be first to the top of that climb?
He did say he wants to be first to the top of the climb, which, I mean, I don't know if he will, but he says he wants to be.
I mean, I
Right.
think him and Andreas Drietz, the other German guy, I think those guys will both be pushing really hard to be up there, and I agree with you. I think Reed and the guy Appleton, Sam Appleton, I think they're both going to push hard to be up there.
Yep.
And I mean, part of me thinks that Ben Collins and
For sure.
Starkowitz are going to push before the climb, and I just
Yeah.
think that there's going to be like 5 guys who go flying by him halfway up.
You
Yeah.
do? You think Starkey will blow kind of on the hill a little bit?
I mean, he's a big dude,
That's
and
true.
he's not as good as he says he is.
So if we're talking about people blowing on the climb, and you guys are saying they go hard on the bikes or hard on the hill, do you think that's a bad race plan to go hard in the hill?
I think if you go too far into the red, then you may not. It may just burn a match for the run.
I don't think so. I think there's going to be at least, let's say 8 guys make it over the top together. At least 3 of those guys are going to be top 5. You know, I think that's a way like Andy Brochure makes the podium, is to do a move like that. And I think if he doesn't, he's not making the podium.
That's probably
So
why he said he wanted to be first up the climb, because he knows that, because he's going to get outrun.
yeah, and we've heard the course is twisty and turny, and I think if you stay close in a group on that descent, that's going to really speed up your descent. Whereas if you're caught in no man's land, you're just going to get gapped, and then you're going to have like guys like Kinley flying by you.
Yeah.
Yeah, like is Kinley going to catch everybody before the finish of the climb, or is he going to use that descent and bridge back up?
I don't know. What would the gap be out the water? 2 minutes to Kenley?
Probably.
I think the descent. I think the descent's going to be more interesting than the climb.
Yeah, because I spoke to Josh Amberger the other day, and he'd done a training camp with Kenley, and he actually said a lot of these like super high-end bikes, the brakes don't work that well, and actually affects the descent. Like he said, can be very sketchy if your brakes are a bit crap.
That's true. Like the brakes that are kind of at the bottom of the bottom bracket, sometimes they
Yeah.
really don't grab the wheel that well. So it is a little sketchy. And I mean, what about someone like Jan Frodeno? Is he going to go like with the big group, or will he be like, I'll catch him on the run? Or
I think he's a racer. Yeah, he'll
Yeah.
go. I would think, unless he can't go, I would expect him there.
yeah,
Yeah, I agree. He'll go.
But yeah.
he'll be
But there's a
there.
lot of guys. Yeah, I think there's a lot. The guys in the front group who can make it over that climb is just like you said. Both the Tims, Don and Reed, and Frodeno, and Appleton, and probably Bizone.
Yeah.
So.
And Neil's from Hold probably. He's
Yeah.
pretty strong. He's really
Yeah,
strong.
and I've heard Niels is making a big push for Worlds for Kona Ironman Worlds. So we'll see if he's a bit beat up from that, but.
Yeah,
He's the guy.
he actually emailed us, and from the press release, what I interpreted from the press release was this was not a focus race for him. This was just another stepping stone to Kona. I mean, he finished 5th last year, but he didn't. What I read was there was no specific 70.3 training going into this race, or very little. It was basically a stepping stone to Kona, and he would be happy with top 10, which means if he comes in 9th or 8th, to me, then he said that's a good day. But I mean, last year he did get 5th.
He did, and he was 6th at Hawaii, and it sounded like. I feel like if he's a guy who's nobody's talking about to win Hawaii, but his performance at Roth was huge, so he's definitely a guy who could win Hawaii. And yeah, last year he had the best combined double. He was 5th and 6th.
Yeah, that's true. What about Go ahead, Zach.
So I was going to say, talking about one person that's not here this year in the top 5 is Lionel Sanders. Does the threat of a really good bike runner not being there make any difference? Even though
No.
To be honest, I think last year people were like not even sure if he was the real deal. I don't think guys were like he's going to either show up or he's not, and he showed up, but I don't think anybody was thinking about him because look at this start list. They're thinking about 20 guys, not just one.
Yeah.
Right. What about Tim Don? We heard a little something about him and his status before the race. He got in a little bike crash last weekend. Do you think that'll affect him?
Yeah, so I heard he went and got in a bit of a bike crash up here in Boulder going up. Had a bit of a bike issue and I think something jammed and he went over the handlebars. So from what I see on Twitter, he's still there and he's diving into the lake to go for a swim. So Uh, yeah, who knows? I guess that will be race day. We'll see how it affected him.
Yeah. I feel like he's super gritty, so he's gonna, what is it?
Yeah.
He's dirty fast. So
Exactly.
I feel like he'll still give it a really good go, and if it all goes to shit, like who knows? But
Yeah.
I don't think he's gonna lay down and not try or something
No,
like
like he flew over to the race course a month or 6 weeks ago and did a week there, I think. So he knows it well. He would have practiced the descent. So he's definitely serious about it.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm expecting him to be in the top 5. I don't really think he'll get first or second, but third, fourth, or fifth, or sixth is definitely where I see him.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, he's a gamer. He's one of the best in the world.
Yeah. What about Michael Raylor? He's a smaller guy, so he's going to get up that climb pretty well, but can he ride with kind of the front group of like Bazone, Appleton, Frodeno, those Reed, those types?
Yeah, and we were talking about this before we got on. I was kind of saying I was curious why he hasn't raced so much, and you said he'd raced kind of a smaller race more recently.
Yeah,
But
Frankfurt.
yeah, usually in the past when he's game for a world championships, everybody's talking to him heading in. So part of me thinks that he's a guy, if he's healthy, he's already been racing. So if he's only done one not quite as big race, I'm kind of thinking maybe he's not as healthy. If that,
Right.
and so, he's either podium or out of the top 20.
That's
Yeah.
what I think. Yeah. I mean, he still holds the fastest. Didn't he go like 3:36? Isn't that the
Yeah,
fastest
he holds
half ever?
he holds the fastest half.
Yeah,
Yeah.
3:36. Really.
Is that Mandro or Bahrain or?
Was it Clearwater?
It was.
Oh.
I think it was Clearwater.
Okay,
What?
last year in Mandro he went 3:30 something.
Yeah, that's what it
Yeah.
was. It was last November. That's when he did the 3:30. I thought maybe that's 3:37, but yeah, that's bananas.
Something around. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this race definitely isn't going to be that fast, but what about people like Jesse Thomas? I mean, is he going to be able to come through at all, or is he going to kind of get stuck back, in no man's land a little bit off the back?
Yeah, I think the swim might be a bit too hot, and then they'll just be a pack up there pushing it.
I think, yeah, Jesse's a guy who we mentioned how we thought the bike's going to be really hard.
Yeah.
And the run has got some speed, and Jesse's definitely at the core, an extremely talented runner. But I don't think a hard bike messes with him as much. Like if you look at Wildflower, that's a hard ride, and I know he doesn't have tons of wins outside of that course, but this course is also a hard ride, and it's going to be challenging. And I see him holding his speed pretty good on the run. So, he could definitely be in the 5th spot, but I think top 10 for sure if he has a good day.
Yeah.
Who's going to be able to run hard after a hard bike? Is there anybody in your mind that has an advantage over anybody else?
Yeah, I think Frommhold, Thomas. I mean, Thomas will be further back, but Frommhold we were talking about, and I think Bazone for sure is.
And I definitely think Appleton, like in Cairns this year, he rode off the front, and Vineman he rode off the front, and he wasn't exactly pushed on the run, and he still ran sort of 13, 14. So it'd be interesting to see him actually run side by side with the likes of Frodo and see what he can run, because we all know he can ride.
Yeah.
We mentioned Bazone. So does the $1 million? I mean, it plays a factor, but how much does it play a factor? I mean, this was, to us at least, it was just announced, maybe 2-3 weeks ago, and he's in both races. Does his focus switch to this race?
I think so. I think Terenzo's one of the most one-day talented guys around if he puts his mind to it.
I agree 100% with Mark. I think Terenzo's the least talked about. Is like if people kind of say who's got the talent, you always hear whatever the Brownlees, Gomez, Frodeno, but like I still think the stuff Terenzo's been doing since he was a teenager is crazy impressive. If you look even when he was 15, 16, I guess you're a New Zealand guy, Mark, right? So
Yeah.
I mean, he's been world class for damn near 2 decades, and he's only like 30 years old.
Well, that record at Wildflowers still stands, and that was, what, 10
He was
years
21.
ago? Yeah.
For the record, he should have been DQ'd for abandonment of equipment. He threw his fuel belt to me at mile like 9. Yeah. I was just sitting on the side going crazy, like a kid my age can go this fast. What?
Yeah, he's super
One guy I
tough.
haven't heard you guys mention, Joe Gambles. I mean, he went third in 2013, not too long ago, but we have had a lot of 70.3 so-called specialists, last year and this year.
Didn't he also go fourth and fifth the 2 years before that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I mean,
It's
is it
fourth,
is it
fifth,
past
third.
his time, or did he just have a bad race last year?
He hasn't had a great year this year at all. I mean, he's been over in Girona training. He left Boulder, I think, at the beginning of this year to go to Girona. So I don't know kind of what's been going on. It
From
seems
what
like
I understand, he went to Europe to focus on the Triple Crown. That I'm not sure if that's 100% correct, but so he did Bahrain and then he wanted to do all the other races. So yeah, I'm not sure if it not being in Boulder just doesn't quite suit him as much.
yeah.
Yeah.
And,
I
go
don't know if
ahead.
it's past. I don't know if it's past. I don't really think it's past his time, but I don't know if he's necessarily the best prepared as of right now. Maybe if the race was in a couple months, he'd be a guy looking at the podium. But as of right now, I kind of feel like maybe not.
Yeah.
So
What
All right,
about
well,
someone like Rudy Wild?
oh yeah, if that's interesting because we haven't talked about like um how it'll be marshaled and how close guys are going to ride and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
if guys are riding 3 bike lengths instead of 10 meters, I could see him as a guy who
Mm.
all of a sudden is there 80K into the ride and you're scratching your head saying, I didn't know he could ride a bike that fast.
Yeah, I
Um,
agree.
and if that happens, man, he's run with some of the best people in the world in ITU and also in half Ironman. So
Yeah, I
that's
mean,
yeah.
could he lay down, like go under 110 on the run if he's kind of in the mix? Is anyone going to go under
No,
110?
one. That's a good question. I don't know, Mark. What do you think?
Oh, I think maybe Gomez. What did he do last year? 9, and that was a slightly hillier, tougher run.
Yeah.
And that,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's true. So,
I
but
mean, what,
weather-wise, it's looking relatively warm right now, is from what I understand.
it
and
is.
there's a
so
late start too. It starts at 10:45.
Yeah, that's
That'll
true.
suit the ITU boys.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
at last year's race, you basically had a group of guys run under, let's just say, like 113, and then the next set of guys were like 114 and above. I mean, Gomez went under 110. He did 109.27.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
So, I mean, is he going to lay down under a 110 again?
If he has to, I think he can. If
Yeah,
he's not
yeah.
sick.
I think there's only like 5 guys who can run under 110 or 110.30. I'm looking at the list of who it'd be like Ferdinand, Gomez, Michael Raylert if he's on, Bazone if he's just following people and he'd have to outsprint him, but he would never make a move to go to the front.
Yeah.
Um, and that's what is that for? I don't know if maybe Tim Reed just because
Right.
I feel like Tim Reed or Sam Appleton just because they just have crazy good performances and just get overlooked all the time. But those 4 guys that I named, Gomez, Don, Ferdinand, Raylert, and Bazone, that is 5. Okay. So I could see any of them if you put them in the right situation of competitiveness and they're at the front and they're going for the win, I'd see really fast times coming.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
last year it was basically a two-man race, correct? Coming off the bike, right? Gomez and Jan.
Yeah.
So how many
Well,
guys are coming?
Gomez was a bit back, though. He had to close a gap out of transition. He took his
Yeah.
sweet ass time in T2.
He did. Yeah, I mean they were within.
I thought it was like 30 seconds, 45 seconds.
So, Gomez ran a minute faster, and then he also won by 40 seconds. So yeah, I mean he was only down by 20 seconds or something.
Okay.
So how many guys are going to be in the running coming off the bike? I mean, is it going to be bigger than 2, like
Yeah.
last year?
Yeah, I think
It will
so.
be.
Yeah. I think it'll be. Here's a question: how big of a lead if Keenley comes off the bike ahead of the group? How big of a lead does he have to win?
2.5 minutes.
Yeah, I think around 3.
I mean, we're talking about a two-time champion, just 2 years removed, and he needs a 2.5-minute lead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean,
But
he
he's
had a
won
lead
them from the
before.
front. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
how he's won the past ones.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So, I mean, could him and Dreets kind of go up the road ahead of everybody? I mean, I would think, maybe if he's got someone up ahead with him, they could,
Yeah.
not you get more time maybe.
Yeah, I think, and that's the thing where if like a guy like Ben Collins or if Starkowitz just goes suicide mission, which he always
will.
does. Yeah, so if I feel like Collins races a bit smarter. Except remember when he did High V and he just wasn't that him where he just went off the front and got as many preems as he could because he couldn't run. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Anyways, that was one of my most favorite triathlon performances I've ever seen. Anyways, yeah, I think if there was a group, I think if it was 3 guys, and probably 2 of those 3 are just going to go suicide mission, I think that could hugely help Kinley. So
I really can't see a lot of them letting them just right away though. I really think the Bozzoni and Appleton and Reed will do everything they can once the Kinley train comes past.
Yeah. Especially
They will all be thinking, I need at least 2 minutes on Gomez.
and people have been saying that across the board, everyone's saying, well, we're not going to outrun Gomez. We need time. So I feel like that consensus amongst about 15, 20 guys who are really strong, I think a lot of them are just going to say, look, we're here to win. We're not, handing it over to Gomez, and that just means you've got 15 of the best guys in the world who've kind of decided we're going to make this really, really hard, and that's the only way we're going to win. So, which is true.
Yeah, and 10 of them will probably blow up on the run.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so who wins?
Oh.
Do we do round table?
I mean, go ahead, Mark. Who you got? Who you got winning this thing?
I think Gomez if he's healthy, and Gomez for Dino, and I'm gonna say Appleton.
Ooh.
So do you see Gomez running them down, or do you see Gomez being far back?
I see a little bit of a gap, but I think that he'll be with the main group off the bike. There may be maybe 5 up the road.
Okay. What do you got, Elliot?
I mean, I was thinking about it, and I don't know how likely it is, but I really do think Bozzone has everything it takes to win, and if he's really putting more marbles in the half Ironman basket, I think he's healthy and he's focused on half Ironmans. And if he'd been doing that for the past 6 years, he would have won this race 3 times instead of once. So I think there's a good chance that he decided to do that, and we're gonna see the proof. So
how much of a lead does he need off of like Jan and Gomez to win? Nothing. All right.
He's one of the few guys who's a gamer. He can run with anybody. He's not afraid of anybody. It's throughout his career. He's out sprinted and hung with anybody in the world, and that's the only reason. Like when you look at it, like you're like, where's everyone's weakness? And if you look at like Frodeno's in the same situation. You're like, that guy doesn't really have a weakness. And Gomez, people are saying maybe he's not spent as much time on his TT bike or he's a little bit sick, but yeah, if you're going to make me choose one, I'm going to go with Bozzone because I want him to win.
Yeah. he can suffer like I've never seen anyone suffer.
Yeah.
Even when he's not in top shape, he will just do what it takes to win, and that's one of his biggest strengths, I think.
And Mark, you said that he has daddy power. He just had a new baby, so what does that put into it?
What do you have, Emily?
Oh man, I think I'm gonna go with I would go with Raylert if I was sure he was healthy, but I'm not 100% positive. I'm gonna go with Frodeno. I just he's gonna be up front. He rode really well in Frankfurt, and
that's an understatement.
he doesn't like to lose, so.
Mm-mm.
There it is.
You know, I was thinking you weren't going to go with Jan, so I was gonna be the only one that picked him. But I mean, how I don't see Kinley even catching up. Him being a factor if Jan can ride faster than him.
Hmm.
I mean, how does anybody catch Jan if he just laid an awesome record down at Frankfurt?
This is a half Ironman. It's different race.
It's true.
But you make a valid point. But it is a half, and it's not an Ironman, and I think the group dynamics are going to play a lot into it. But
Yeah.
he's going to be hard to beat.
Yeah.
All
I
right,
think it'll
what
be
about dark horses? Let's finish on that. Somebody that nobody's talking about top 10, but it's going to finish top 10 or make a top 5.
I have one.
Go ahead.
Tyler Reed from Canada.
Yep.
He had a couple good races.
He
Yeah.
ran toe to toe with Lionel Sanders at Mont Tremblant, and I think and he was 6th at Oceanside this year, not too far back, and he ran like really well. So I think he's someone like even if he comes off the bike a little bit down, like I don't think he'll be totally wrecked for the run, and he'll be able to run his way up through kind of the carnage that occurs.
I think
Yep.
that's fair. I think
I
we
would-
should recognize the fact that Peter Robertson is in the race. And
Yeah.
his likelihood of getting over 30th place is about 99%, leaving 1% for victory.
Yeah, all or nothing.
I mean, he's done it before. Why can't he do it again? So
Yeah.
Yeah.
My dark horse it'd probably be maybe Richie Nichols. You never know. He could
Yeah.
be top 10.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he can run.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's end on that. Let's move to the women because the women's race is probably just as interesting. Let's first talk about. Let's just get this out of the way. The 3-minute start difference, is that going to make an effect in the race or not?
No.
Yes.
Ooh.
I guess I'm just going to let them battle.
All right, go ahead, Mark. Why will it?
I mean, I don't know because I'm not a female, but I train a lot with Alicia, and I think it will just annoy some of the chicks, and it sounds like the guys from Mont Tremblant, when Alicia described, like they just slot in, and then the marshals that seem to be tougher on the girls because they feel as the girls are drafting off the guys, but sometimes they don't realize that these are the guys that aren't very good, and they're slotting in and causing chaos with the girl and causing the girls to have to put big power spikes to pass like the group, which I think can affect the girls as well. But Emily, you can comment better on that.
Emily, tell us why not.
I think I'm just being hopeful that because this is a world championship, and I know they rolled down pretty far, but I would like to think that even the back end of this field is stronger than the back end of a North American race. So I like to think that even if someone like Lauren Brandon, who could probably swim her way up into the second pack of guys, even if she is up there, I'm just really hopeful that in the flats, at the beginning of the race, these guys are just going to power away. So that is my hope. I think another concern is the fact that the 35 to 39-year-old men are starting just 10 minutes behind the pro women, so they might have an effect at the back of the field. Those strong riders will they bring people up? Will there be less marshals back there? Like, I don't know. So
I agree with 100% on the. I think that if you look at it, look who's 57th on the men's list. He's a guy who's went under 8 hours in an Ironman, and none of the girls on this list are, going under 4 hours, and this guy's going twice as far, and he's, one of the slower guys in the field, presumably based on points. I don't think the pro men are going to mix with the pro women. If they do, it's for a hot second. But I think, like what you said, those age group guys, I don't think it's going to affect 1 through 10 in the women's race, but I think people are going to get 12th instead of 15th or, 15th instead of 22nd because of hanging on to some age group guy who's probably not drug tested and probably riding a bike with a motor. So.
Yeah. I mean,
right.
okay.
So all right, well, we'll move on. Um, I don't know. Let's start with Kay. You brought her up, Mark. I mean, what do you think about?
I think she's going to be really tough to beat. I would say a definite top 5. Um, it's just whether she can run a very low 120, I think, will be whether she can get in the top couple. I hope she can.
I mean, I think she showed in Boulder, like, she's getting the pacing down on the bike, like, and she's always a strong rider. Like, she was the best 40K non-draft rider, I mean, in the world. Like, she can lay it down on the bike, and I think she's getting the hang of it, and she's a pretty good bike handler, so I don't think she's going to have much problem on the descent. And I think she's a gamer, and she knows how to race the big races. She always brought it at High V,
Yeah.
she always brought it at Oceanside Finale. Like, she knows what she's doing.
Yeah. And I know those other, like the one she did recently in Canada, like there was no taper for that, and yeah, she won, but there was some controversy there, and she got beaten by a fair bit. But I think this is the A race, and she's put it all in for this, so it'll be interesting. I think
Yeah.
Meredith and Daniela will definitely make her work for it, and Heather and Jody.
In Calgary, when was it Magali crossed the line first, but
Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah.
didn't she beat her by like 10 or 15 minutes, and it was only she may have gained a few minutes advantage in the swim. I'm not quite sure.
It was Magali who gained the advantage in the swim, right? Who then got DQ'd. Yeah. But that was what I was wondering about, because so she didn't get credit for the win, but she's on fire. And I mean, I want to say, was it 4 or 5 years ago? Everybody thought she was going to win every World Championships for the next decade. She definitely has the talent, and I would not be surprised if. I mean, a little surprised if she won, but I kind of see her as a top 3, top 5 for sure contender up there with Alicia and obviously Daniela, and we'll see about Wertel and Swallow. I feel like one of the two of them is going to be in the top 5. But,
Yeah, I mean, Magali, like I said, like I raced against her at Alcatraz, and going down those descents, I mean, she's fearless, and like she was in arrow position, and I wasn't even close. So, I mean, she knows how to ride a bike, and she's not scared to ride a bike. So I think that she could make up some time on those descents on someone like Meredith Kessler, who does a lot of trainer riding.
Does a lot of running into people.
Yeah. So,
I meant on her bike. Sorry, I wasn't trying to be rude.
Yeah, I mean, so someone like that, like, I mean, Meredith could really lose some time, like, on a technical descent. I mean, hopefully she's been working on it. She lives out in Marin now, so maybe she's been riding outside more.
Yeah, and that's interesting, because that's something that I feel like the girls with ITU and short course background are definitely gonna be able to handle the descent and riding close together. And I mean, I realize they're not drafting, but it sounds like the roads are narrow, the roads are twisty and turny, and it sounds like the descent may play just as much of an effect of who gets gaps as the climb.
Yeah, I mean, like someone like Camilla Peterson, like, I mean, she was ITU. I think she can ride a bike really well. So she's someone that I don't think like North Americans are paying attention to, but she's going to be in the front group out of the swim. And like in 2013, like she won every race, and then she had that horrible accident. But so, she's someone that could definitely, podium if she has a great race, I think.
Does any of the girls go with Brandon on the swim to get a lead on, say, Wartel or, Reef or whoever? Does anybody go with Brandon to swim?
No one can go with Brandon.
Yeah, I don't know if they can.
I was going to say, Emily, you're in a good position to answer that question. Do you think? Yeah.
No. People, I mean, like, honestly, like, when we talk about it, no one even considers it. Like, it's just like Brandon goes. Like, that's it. Like, Jody might attempt it. I mean, I've never raced with Jody, but, like, Brandon gapped Jody at Dubai this year, and all the announcers were like, "Who is this chick who's way out in front?" And I'm like, "Dude, that's Lauren Brandon. Like, she can swim faster than any of the ITU chicks." Like,
So you brought Swallow up. Did she try? Because obviously, I think she's a less quality runner than some of the other girls. So did she try to go with Brandon on the swim to get a swim bike lead over all these other girls?
I
yes,
think, of course, everyone's a racer, and you try and swim as hard as you can and go with the fastest people. I definitely think she will try.
yeah. I definitely think Swallow will try. I just think Brandon will swim away from her.
Mm.
I mean,
I guess you said you haven't raced, but obviously you've been there when in the front group behind Brandon many times, I guess.
yes.
Sorry to bring up the pain, but
No. I mean, she just swims away.
yeah.
Like,
But
like
you're
that,
in a, like, who are some of the girls when she goes? Who are some of the girls you see like trying to make make a go of it, as opposed to just like,
Letting her
okay,
go.
we're in a group. I'm in with Emily. Like, because you're such a strong swimmer yourself. Like, and you're like, okay, we've got a good group. Don't even worry about it. We're gonna go hard. But I'm not gonna sprint 1,000. The first 1,000 and then just
right.
over.
I mean, yeah, so like at Vineman, like we all started and it'd be great to try to hop on Lauren's feet, but she's so fast that like even if you draft off of her, it's just for me, it's too high of an effort. Like I just, and then like I ended up swimming with like Meredith and Holly. I think if it was like a bigger group, like say in the ITU, you have like 15 or 10 or 15 people, like that's just a bigger pack and like easier to stay in. But when it's just like you and Lauren, like you have to put out so much more effort. If I had like 9 other people with me, like I might be able to stay in the group. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So do you think Holly's going to be in that first group, Holly Lawrence?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
And do you think, like, how do you feel like she's going to race, knowing her and having raced her?
I think she'll be off, like, I mean, she had a huge lead at Buffalo Springs and then didn't even start the run. Like at Vineman, she was off the bike, at the front with Meredith. And I think that's where she'll be in this race. Like at Oceanside, she was off the front all by herself. No one even knew who she was at that race. I mean, I think like Heather Wortell and Heather Jackson were like, what the heck is going on? Like, who are we chasing down? So I think Holly will be near the front. I mean, I don't think she'll ride as fast as like if Daniela Reef rides like she's capable of. I don't think she'll ride that fast, but like she'll be in the mix off the bike, and then it's just a question of like whether she's been able to run since she had an IT band problem or something. So, I mean, but I don't think she'll run faster than say like 127 to 130.
Yeah.
So you bring up Reef. When does she take the lead? I mean,
it's inevitable.
Let's step back. Does she not take the lead?
Yep,
No.
she does.
No, you were right.
Okay, so she does. So when does she do it? Does she do it on the bike, or is she going to have to run somebody down?
On the bike.
Yeah, for sure on the bike. Yeah.
I mean, is she a good handler? I don't know. Like, I've only seen her, Mont Tremblant was a pretty straight course, and same with Kona. Like, she's a good handler on the bike. Like, she can descend. Does anyone know?
I'm assuming she rides up and down a lot of mountains, but who knows?
Oh, yeah, because she's in Switzerland. That's right. So, yeah.
I was going to say, because I coach a guy in Switzerland who, you're like, oh, geez, you see pictures, and you're like, if you are bad at descending, you probably are not going to do good at the races here. So.
And she was ITU, wasn't she? And they have good
skills. She's got the skills. She has the background. I kind of feel like if somehow she got off the bike in 5th, then I would not expect her to win. Like, if she's going to win, she has to be off the bike at least close to the front or near the front with other people who are not quite as high caliber runners, like Swallow or like someone like Holly Lawrence.
She didn't Reef run like a 117 or 119 at Dubai this year, though? I mean, I feel like she stepped up the run a bit.
I mean, she has, and I think a lot of her run times, when you look at it, you're like, oh, you were winning by so much, you probably didn't even go close to, maybe she was running at 85, 90%.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, last year she out of like the top 5 girls, I mean, she basically was, with Swallow running or something. She had a 2+ minute lead, so you never know what her run could be, right?
Yeah, and I feel like Brett Sutton's gonna tell her if you have a big lead. Like, I don't feel like he wants to show her run cards until Kona. That's personally what I think. But like, if she has a 5 minute lead, I feel like she'll shut it down on the run in this race.
Yeah, I
I
think
mean, yeah, but I don't think she's gonna shut it down until like mile 10 or 11.
Oh yeah, I mean,
But
but
yeah, I think she'll be running hard, and if she gets a big gap, sure, she'll back off a minute or two.
yeah. What about like Heather Wortel? Is she gonna have enough firepower on the bike to ride up to the front?
very close to the front. I'd thought. She's
Yeah,
pretty strong.
I don't know if I don't really see her getting off the bike in first, but I for sure see her one of the top 4 girls off the bike.
Mm.
Yeah.
Unless she just goes the wrong way in the swim, I see her being up there.
Yeah.
So she's the question with Heather is how fast does she run? Because we know she's had some great runs, but she's also had a lot of not great runs.
Right.
And I feel like she can make her bike happen whether she's on a good day or a bad day. She can, she's strong enough and she's competitive enough to force that. And she either gets off the bike in third and stays in third and gets a podium, or she gets off the bike in third and fades to 14th.
Right.
That's how I see it with her.
Yeah. I mean, and I feel like she's been running better this year. I mean, she got off the bike behind at St. George and ran her way up to the front on that really tough course, and she's tall. Like, it's not like, she's thin, but she's tall, so she has a lot to take up hills, but she's run well,
I think she's going to ride great uphill, honestly.
Yeah, I think
Right.
so.
I think she's going to ride better than some of those smaller girls. She can ride a bike.
If you're a strong cyclist on the flat, I think you're generally it's just power.
Yeah.
You're going to go uphill unless it's super steep. But
And I think in some sense, yeah, like some of the guys in triathlon, at least some of the guys who are really fast cyclists, like a Starkowitz kind of guy, he's thicker. I don't expect him to climb quite as high a level as like a guy like Frodeno, but but like on the women's side, none of the girls, if you're looking at women's bike racing, sure, there's a lot of like really thicker girls who can really ride a fast TT that can't climb. But in triathlon, these girls have got to run fast, and none of them are, they might be bigger for triathlon, but they're not big, and they're going to climb just fine. So
Yeah, and Heather puts out like massive power on the flats just because she is a bigger, so she's got more power there, and she's
her femurs are gigantic.
Yeah, I mean, she's set up to bike fast, The question is she going to have kind of company coming from behind on the swim? Like, she'll probably be riding with, say, Magali, maybe Lauren Barnett, who's thrown down some good bike splits. Like, is she going to, it's nice to have people around, right?
Yeah. Who do you see from the people you've raced that you feel like are just going to ride right on up there, from maybe people that you've seen passing you on the bike, I guess?
That's a lot of people. Definitely Heather. Like, she goes by and I'm like, okay, see you later. I would have said Rachel McBride, but she actually is out with a bit of a foot problem. So that's someone who I think, could have been kind of riding with Heather. That would have been good. I mean, other good riders that I have not raced are like Julia Gayer.
What about like Svenja Baslin and Ricardo Lisk? They're ex-ITU, aren't they?
Yeah, and I mean, Svenja Baslin a couple years ago, she was like 5th or 6th in Vegas. She hasn't been doing quite as well. And then, Ricardo will be out, I think, of the swim with everybody. And then we are also talking about Nikki Butterfield. I mean, she has the pedigree to ride really fast. I don't know how her run's been lately. She hasn't. I thought she had retired, but she kind of came back. So I think Nikki Butterfield is someone who's going to move her way up through the field. And I've never raced Lauren Barnett, but she, outsplit Meredith at Raleigh and almost caught her on the run too. So
Really?
She's
Oh.
yeah, she ran like a 120 or a 121. So she's someone who definitely move up.
Do the girls know that basically Reef is untouchable, so their strategy is slightly different because they know they're going for second, or obviously they're still trying to win? So does that like do they let Reef win and play for second?
No.
No, I don't
No.
think.
So you have girls blow up because they try to go after Reef.
I think
Ooh.
sport's all about the day. Anything can happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the women's race is a bit more. I think you see a higher level of if you look at like a performance as what you are capable of on the day. I think the women's field has there's more women who perform close to their peak than there are guys, if
Why
that
do you
makes sense.
why do you think that is?
I mean, I think I mean, partly there's less girls in the race.
Uh-huh.
And
Percentage game.
no. That's not what I mean. I mean,
Oh.
there's less girls around you, so you can race your own
Uh,
race a little bit more. So it's a little bit more spread out. But I also
Mhm.
think, I mean, like I coach like 6 female pros and 6 male pros or something like I can't remember the numbers. It's like 13 or 14 of them, and you see a lot of people who are just like they're more okay with like, look, I'm gonna do exactly what's best for me to get to the finish line, and I think part of that is
yeah.
you oftentimes see people who are just like tougher in the moment and guys who kind of like think a little higher of themselves than maybe they should, and like
100% agree. I think that's you look at Kona start list every year and how many, what, 90% of the guys don't perform, whereas I think the girls perform a lot better because they stick to their race plan.
yeah, you see that, and I do think partly it's how many girls are out there. I think if you added 15 extra, maybe it would affect it a little, but it's still at the base of it. I just see with the high-level professional women across the board being, whether you want to call it tougher or smarter or more balanced, that's just how I've always seen it play out.
Yep,
So
So
I
they're more
agree.
calculating in a way, and
yeah,
they're
like it's like this patience to do the right thing and also to commit to like a really painful back half of the run because
Or
you
maybe,
see.
sorry. I was going to say it could be they don't have such big egos.
I was going to say that
It's
in
an
an
ego
Yeah,
interview.
thing. I don't know.
yeah, because not having an ego, I think, in particularly in Ironman, but
Mm.
in half Ironman too, not having an ego can make your race. And a lot of coaching is kind of like balancing that and balancing expectations, you know. So
Yeah.
So
What
who's
about,
fighting? Go
go
ahead,
ahead.
Mike.
I was just going to say, like, you have someone like Anya Bearneck, too. I forgot about her, who's a really solid cyclist. I mean, she doesn't run that well, but she's led a lot of 70.3s off the bike. So she's another strong biker that might be kind of a little bit off after the swim and then can ride, her way up. I feel like there's
Mhm.
going to be shuffling in the women's race, especially like we were talking about. I think the descent will break the women's race up even more. Because there are definitely women that ride better than others.
yeah, I think the gap in riding skill is higher from a quality bike handler to the lesser bike handler on the women's side than the men's side.
Yeah,
But um, it also sounds like the women's side there's going to be one surefire swimmer who just kind of outguns everybody. Whereas on the men's side, I feel like that's not the case. So
yeah. It's just a question of how long Lauren Brandon hangs out there. I mean, at Vineman, she was at the front until like mile 20 or so. So, and she was out in front in Dubai for a while as well. And she'll try to stay with the group. Like that's what she knows. That's her only play because she's not a super strong runner. So,
yeah, that's a great way for her to get a payday or to get a good payday. You
right.
know, getting
Yep.
that whatever fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth spot.
Yep. Yep. So we'll see.
So who's in a play for the podium then? Second through fifth is what we're talking about, right?
Oh, like
Well,
behind podiums go 3 deep, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not,
yeah, three deep, three deep.
none of this five.
Yeah.
All right,
Um,
But
through three.
but yeah,
who wants to go first with their picks?
I feel like we're all choosing Daniela to win. Is that
Yes.
accurate? Yeah.
If she
Um,
performs the way she's capable, I think she'll win. I think the other women are going to try to ride with her. I mean, Meredith Kessler broke her Mont Tremblant record this year, but I think Daniela Reef is better this year. So
Yeah, and the whole Sato squad on a whole is going pretty well at the moment, I think.
yeah,
With
who
yeah,
all? I don't follow that too closely. Who all's coached by him?
Mary Beth
Hmm.
yeah.
Ellis, she's
But
going really well.
is she racing it though?
She is not racing. No.
Yeah, I thought she wasn't racing.
Yeah,
Okay.
no. She's not racing, but she's still going well.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, she is. That's for sure. Yeah. Um,
So second through fifth. Mm.
I mean, who's going to be in the play for those positions? I mean,
Kessler,
Heather
Swallow, and Kay, I think the main ones.
and
yeah,
Magali, I think
Yeah.
Magali could
yeah.
get up there. Oh, and
Camille.
Camilla,
Yeah, Camilla.
Camilla,
Camilla, yeah, Pedersen for sure. Um,
yeah.
yeah, I think those are. I mean, we didn't name too many folks, but
so do you feel like the women's group will be a smaller group, for the last couple, for 2 through 5, let's say? Will that be a smaller group than the male group?
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, I think the gap from fifth to 10th in the women is probably going to be 2 to 3 times as big as fifth to 10th in the guys.
Yeah.
For
Does
sure.
that make sense?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think the women will be more spread out, just even, first through fifth. Like, I think you're going to see minute gaps, 2-minute gaps in there. It seems that's the way women's racing goes. Like, I didn't see anybody at Vineman really.
I mean, last year, Reef won by 2+ minutes, and then from Swallow to Wortel was 3 minutes, and then from Wortel to Kessler was, another minute plus. So the spread is bigger.
Mm.
Yeah. And I think it'll play out that way.
Yeah, I agree, and I also think that's probably why we're talking less people. As to like, you're like, oh, name first through fifth, and we're like naming 8 people who have a shot in there.
Yeah. Who do you think will be a surprise? Who's going to be in there and you'll be like, what? Anyone?
Yeah. Well, we kind of already were talking about him, like Nikki Butterfield, like you said. If she's on, she's on, and could come up there, and
I'm
What
hoping
about?
Harley Lawrence and maybe sneak into like
Yeah.
a fifth
Yeah.
if she's got a run back.
Yeah.
Yeah. You had
Steve-
mentioned Emma Kate Lidbury, Emily, off before we started. Not today, but in an email, I believe.
Oh, yeah. I mean, she definitely hasn't had the season that she's capable of, I don't think. So she's someone. I mean, if her bike is on, I mean, she's super strong. It's just this year has not been her year. I mean, maybe she's kind of will get it together at the right time.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
And
Same
there's
with
also
Radka she's a racer. She'll be in the top 10, I would say.
Yeah, she just had knee surgery, I think, at the beginning of this year, and
Oh, did she? Okay.
yeah, I think she's just starting to come back into form. It's just whether she's had enough time. But yeah, I mean, she, one year like she raced like 31 weeks out
Yeah,
of the
it's
year.
crazy.
Yeah, and I mean she was strong in a lot of them. Maybe that's why she's having knee surgery. But
31.
yeah, yeah,
What distances was she? Like mostly Olympics or sprints?
70.3
Olympics
and
and
Olympics.
yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez Louise.
Yeah. So I mean, she was 6 last year. I mean, she's really good. I don't know if she's had the time to get to where she's capable of being. She might be someone who's really good in December this year.
Yeah.
All right,
that's
so
true.
Emily, what second and third? We'll start with you.
Okay. Wortel and Peterson.
Why?
Oh,
Why? Because I think Heather's going to bike great, and I think she has a solid run. And then I just think Camilla Peterson is solid and consistent across the board, and she's strong. And this is her first year where she's racing this race after her accident in 2013. She didn't do it last year, and then she's getting ready for Kona. I just think she's on the upswing.
All right. What about you, Elliot?
I think Kay. and Swallow. And I guess reason being, I feel like Kay's had enough time to. I mean, she's really only been doing halves for about a year ever since the disappearance of every money-paying non-draft
Yeah.
Olympic, and then I think she's getting better purely by the month, learning the distance, and Jody Swallow purely
Yeah.
because she doesn't do bad. You know, you're like, oh, she did horrible. She was fifth. And you're like, that's pretty good. So,
Shit,
yeah.
I want to change mine. But go ahead. Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, I was gonna say I couldn't quite decide between Kay, Swallow, and Kessler. I think probably maybe Kessler because not in the top three because of the bike. So yeah, I was gonna say Swallow and Kay.
All
But
right.
you say Swallow second and K third.
No, Kay second, Swallow third.
So you're
Yeah.
gonna copy Elliot then.
Yeah,
So I'm the only one who's the outlier.
you are.
Oh, that's all right.
Well,
don't
Mark's got insider knowledge. You train with her quite a bit, right?
Yeah, no, I train with Kay most days, so
Yeah.
she's strong and definitely she's done a lot of running for this. Like, some of her run days, triple run days, I think are crazy.
Oh my gosh.
Triple
Yeah.
run days?
Yeah, Thursday.
So did she start getting coached by Brett Sutton then?
Nah, Joel Filial does a good job with his crew. I enjoy. Hella's not had to go home, but normally when she's around, it's a good group.
Okay. Are you coached by him as well?
No, I just tag in a bit.
Does Alicia drop you on the bike some days?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. No.
I'm giving her more props, but
Is there anybody? I was kind of wondering. Is there anybody that you guys are like kind of bummed in the men's or women's race that they're not racing? Because there's a lot of people who haven't been racing, or chose not to race, I guess.
I mean, I would say Sanders, but I mean, he's not. He can't be a factor in a short-lived race like a 70.3 if he can't swim.
yeah.
You only can make up so much time. Well, okay, I'm talking about winning or first or second. You only can make up so much time if you're, 50th out of the water.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, I think someone like Potts has been on insane form all year, but he obviously he's got his eye on the prize, which is Kona, and that makes sense. And then there's obviously your boy Hoffman, who beat him the other week, so he must have been on good form.
Mm-hmm.
No comment.
I'm bummed not to be racing, but yeah. So
you passed up the opportunity, right?
yeah, I don't run fast enough yet to make any money to go over there, so I passed it up. Next year in Australia, I'll look to do it. Definitely do it.
I'm bummed that Melissa Hallschult's not there.
Yeah, true.
Yep. Is she one that could compete with Reef?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think if she's healthy and if she,
She just hasn't been racing much, which makes me wonder if she's either like really getting ready for Kona or she's hiding an injury. So, I don't know.
She's won every race she's entered this year, right?
Hochschild hasn't raced since Melbourne.
Yeah, I don't think she has.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah.
So yes, she has won every race this year.
Yeah.
What about Fredrickson?
Who?
Who?
Hella, right?
Yeah, that's a big shame.
That's a bummer. That's a bummer. Yeah.
She would really be a threat on the run because she can definitely run the fastest, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a big bummer. I'm sure that's a big bummer for her. So, yeah. That's a big miss. I would like to see her kind of give Reef a run for her money.
Me too.
Yeah, I feel like the women's side is missing more top-level talent than the men's race.
I agree.
There's not. I know Potts has won the race before, but I don't think he can win.
Do you think you say that because, like we said before, there's more men anyways that are in for the win or, in that top 5 group? Whereas the women were naming 8 for the top 5, but the men we were naming maybe like 10, 12, 15.
Yeah, no, I don't. I think it's a little bit different. I just feel like the top guys are like, it's a world champs. You only get one a year. Why not go for both?
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Whereas it seems like there's a lot of really quality, talented, hardworking females right now that are banged up.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, even Jody, you're like, oh, Jody Swallow, I just picked her to finish third, and apparently she's 12 deficiencies or whatever, and you're like, well, but
Right.
yeah, I think there's a lot of girls who are hurt at the moment, and I don't think there's any reason behind it other than chance.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
All right.
Awesome.
Well, I think that was a good. I think we gave people some good information there.
Yeah, that was good. That was definitely good.
cool.
All right. I'm going to
So,
stop the
yeah.
broadcast.